Hanging over them before please speak, so call me to take the stage.
Brothers and sisters, Ikwani Wakawati Akadeshia, Assalamu alaikum. When the British Empire suppressed the Easter Rising in Dublin in 1916, which included strapping wounded men to chairs, better to execute them by firing squad, the great Irish poet William Butler Yeats wrote, "All changed utterly." And following the massacre of the Mavi Marmara, boat which I was on the 31st of May, Bloody Monday in the Eastern Mediterranean, we can complete Yeats's couplet. All changed utterly, a new phase of struggle is born, but it has come at a terrible, almost unbearable price. Nine brothers taken from us aboard the Mavi Marmara. Their blood is now lapping at the shores of Gaza, but their blood was not shed in vain, because the tide has turned. And we must seize this tide now to make a lasting change for Palestine, the Middle East, and the world. As Carl said at the beginning, we remember all of those nine and the wounded. I remembered them on the Monday night of that attack, in the Negev desert, found in an Israeli prison, a place, I must say, where any self-respecting friend of Palestine would be honoured to spend even just 1 minute. I remembered the brother 1 metre in front of me, shot through the leg, the younger man to the right of me, 50 centimetres to the right of me, shot through the abdomen. I remember the photographer holding a stills camera, that's all he had in his hands, shot through the forehead, the high-velocity bullet blowing away the back third of his skull, cradled by a friend of mine, Nicky Enchmarch from New Zealand, a volunteer and organiser for Viva Palestina. In all three instances, there was not one Israeli commando within the immediate vicinity, within the immediate proximity. It is simply a lie for anybody to claim that the people who fired those shots, in any sense, felt in fear of their life or threatened by the three men who they shot, the man they killed in particular. And so the propaganda, the lies from the Israelis, are falling apart thick and fast. You know, they say about whitewash, I think maybe there are people here who are painters and decorators, that if you slap it on too thick and too quick, it begins to peel no sooner is it dried. And that's exactly what started to happen as the Israeli lie machine Mark Gregg Evans so swung into action. I could give you much more testimony, direct, first-hand that I witnessed, and also from friends. It's testimony which is being gathered now for international prosecutions in this country, in Turkey and in other countries. Prosecutions which I'm pleased to say have been underwritten, the cost of the legal action, underwritten by the Emir of Qatar. So there's going to be no fear in getting the best lawyers from this country and from Turkey. It's evidence, of course, which the Israeli whitewash inquiry is not going to marshal. There's just one thing you need to know about this inquiry, so-called, which has been acquiesced to by the government of the United States, the government of Britain and the European Union, and that is that the bona fide for its impartiality is the presence on it of a man called David Trimble. David Trimble, who a couple of months ago was a founder of a new Friends of Israel initiative. David Trimble, who also hails from the unionist establishment in the north of Ireland, and therefore is himself complicit in the covering up for 38 years of the massacre of 14 civilians shot dead on the streets of Derry in 1972. That's all you need to know. We want a truly independent international tribunal, but we don't need a truly independent international tribunal, because all of us, and many millions more, have already seen the truth. And it's because of that that Israel was immediately on the back foot and still remains on the back foot after that massacre took place. But we cannot be complacent because the enemy doesn't rest. It's trying now to get back onto the front foot, to spin its way out of the crisis that it's in. In particular, there's now a concerted effort to isolate, to denigrate, to calumniate against the government of Turkey, the people of Turkey, and the leading civil society organisation, the courageous İHA, led by Bülent Yıldırım. And in these circumstances, when the people who've been at the front rank of the movement, who lost so much, all 9 of those killed, were Turkish. In these circumstances, we, in Bradford, in Britain, as an international movement, cannot allow our Turkish brothers and sisters to be so isolated. And that means that we must all link arms now, from Bradford to Bahrain, from Casablanca to Kuwait, link arms and step forward together now, all in the we must refute some of the arguments that they're attempting to put forward. In particular, the slander that the mass, politically and civilly engaged Islamic organisations in Turkey have anything to do with the nihilist sectarians of Al-Qaeda. They don't. They're our brothers and sisters. They're people exactly like us, and we should refute that lie every time we hear it. Secondly, that the massacre aboard the Mavi Marmara, in some sense, in any sense, was the responsibility of those of us who were aboard. You see, Mark Regev put it that Israel was attacked. Israel was attacked. Attacked by 61-year-old Ibrahim Bilgen, a father of 6, a man who was a candidate in forthcoming elections for mayor in his hometown. Attacked. Attacked by Cevdet Kılıçlar, a man whose funeral George and I attended on the Friday after the atrocity, a father of 2, an outstanding journalist, photographer and internet technician. Attacked. Brothers, sisters, I'm minded of what Malcolm X might have made of this. Oh, you see, we didn't land on Israel. Israel landed on us. That's what happened in the Eastern Mediterranean. And it's because people collectively resisted. A right to resistance recognised in all the great moral, legal and religious codes that this has had such an impact around the world. And I'm going to say something about that impact. Because we resisted, and also because it connected with processes which have been underway for some time, processes which spell the turning of the tide against Israel and its occupation of Palestinian land. The first of those is that we are well aware of the hard power, as it's called by analysts of Israel. We witnessed it. We witnessed it in all its brutality and lethality in the Eastern Mediterranean. But we're not afraid. The families of those who were martyred told us that we should not be afraid, and so no one can be afraid. Because the stock of Israel, the capital, the money in the bank, is lower now than at any time since the inception of the Zionist entity 62 years ago. You see, some people in the room are old enough to remember a time when Israel was regarded by many people, even some progressives, and in some countries, especially progressives, as some kind of social democratic outpost in the Eastern Mediterranean. As Sweden, surrounded by a band of barbarous and irrational Arabs. That was the image 40 years ago. That image is gone now. That visage is gone. And what's left are the faces of Benjamin Netanyahu, Avigdor Lieberman, Danny Elon, and Mark Regev. And, you know, it's not just us, but most people find those deeply unattractive and ugly faces.